that. So it was extremely exciting to see these scenes unfold and get more and more extreme and more absurd in certain ways, as you're saying, but it felt very strangely grounded.
The workers gather pollen for the queen.
Good morning, Corey. Good morning, Michelle.
Hi, Emma. Hi, Jesse. I'm Brian Peralta from Dominican Republic. How are you?
Hi,
Doing good. How are you?
I'm excited to talk to you. One of the things that I love when I start watching the film is that it feels absurd. Everything that start happening, it feels absurd. Like where this thing's going, and you start having ideas where everything's going. But the dialogue feels natural. How was that first approach when you had the script in your hands and you're also wondering where this story is going?
I mean, I think there's very little more exciting to an actor or somebody, you know, being part of these stories than a script that feels like propulsive in some way, where you just want to keep reading and you want to find out what happens next. Because a lot of times you read a script and you're like, oh boy, here we go. You know, like it starts to fall apart, like anything, like a book or anything like that. So it was extremely exciting to see these scenes unfold and get more and more extreme and more absurd in certain ways, as you're saying, but it felt very strangely grounded as well, to your point, in the dialogue. And it felt like these conversations are ones that, even though obviously it's an extreme viewpoint that Michelle is an alien and, you know, but the world that they're operating in is maybe not an everyday situation, the idea of these opposing viewpoints clashing with each other is a very daily thing in our world. So I just loved it. I just couldn't stop once I started reading it.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, to Emma's point, anytime you get to play a script or a scene that is incredibly well written, you have such a head start if you can just kind of relax and then hop on the train, and the words and then the other actors will take you somewhere, because the words are really evocative, you know? And so yeah, I feel like anytime you have an amazing script like that, that's a huge head start.
I watched the movie with a bunch of film students. So for me,
wow.
it was a different experience because I'm a film critic, but these kids, they know everything about films. They knew it was a remake. They knew everything about it. I didn't know it was a remake. So for me, one of the things that I love about Yorgos' film is that he feels the character feel alienated to his feelings. Like they don't want to feel this way, and both of your characters, they think they are in control. And I wonder how was that conversation what Yorgos wanted to create at the end of the film, because we have a movie that already have the same subject, but we want to create something different, even with the name Bugonia.
There's definitely never a conversation like that happens with Yorgos. It's I think he follows his instincts in the projects that he's drawn to, whether he's writing them or in this case, obviously Will adapted the script and the script came to Yorgos, and he just responded to it. I think as we both did. I think he doesn't necessarily question why exactly he feels the need to make it. He just knows he wants to make it and he wants to tell that story. And the time I think that we think or speak the most about all of the meaning or the layers of it is now doing press, you know, like breaking it down, because while we're in rehearsal or while we're shooting the film, we're just like in the experience of it as much as possible and following the tonal shifts. But there's very little intellectualizing until after the fact.
Jesse, Emma, thank you for taking the time to doing this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you, my friend?
I'm excited to talk to you, man. You did
Great.
a great script. I loved it.
Oh, thank you very much.
You say something that I just wrote down here. Did you say like you expect the audience have hunger for better narratives rather than being spoon-fed answers? And I've been struggling with that for the past years. People always expect that the movie has to explain you something.
Yeah.
And they're gonna struggle with Bugonia. So
Yeah.
why do you say that? What do you try to say with
I just have always felt, maybe as an audience member myself, I always like that feeling of the metaphor I think of as like being at as a kid when you go to a fairground and you get on a roller coaster that you're not quite tall enough to ride. I think people like that feeling of being like, I'm not quite this is not they're going to be easy for me. This is going to be a little bit beyond me, and it's going to be a ride that I'm going to have to hang on hard for and really pay attention to. People want to be a fly on the wall and getting just enough information in that room where they feel, people want to feel smart, like they're figuring it out on their own. I get what's going on. I'm not, the movie's just a little bit ahead of me, but I'm just barely keeping up. I think that's a really fun, great feeling. And I think that you have to resist sometimes as a writer notes that are trying to make that the ride of the movie, if you will, too smooth and frictionless, that people want the bumps and they want it to be a bit scary and they want to be surprised and be a bit bewildered and they not want to have proper footing. Otherwise, what's the point,
I also read that you wrote most of the movie during the lockdown in the pandemic.
Yeah.
Did you have that inspiration for Terry's worldviews?
I mean, I
Because it
didn't at
feels like that.
first. I think I'd sort of outlined the film and kind of knew what I wanted to do with it in kind of, fall and winter of 2019. And then when I finally had some time to sit down and write it, it just so happened that that time that I had was right then when all of show business and all of the world was shut down. At that point, I didn't really think there was some freedom then because I had no idea if there was going to be a movie industry soon, or if there was going to be, a human civilization, or if me and everyone I knew was going to be dead. I had no idea. And so it all felt, maybe that some of that freedom helped me write the script quite quickly, and also probably some residual feelings that I have, or just the atmosphere and the air of things seem very unstable and paranoid and confused, and everyone being very isolated from each other, and all of our communication with each other, or most of it being done virtually, and it all feeling quite divisive, and the temperature of it was very hot. And so I think probably all that helped me write the script, and I don't think I would have been able to write the script in the same way. I don't think it would have been as confident of a piece of work had that not happened, which was pure happenstance.
How much is a challenge for you? Because there's a source material already. There's a movie, a
Yeah.
Korean movie. It was a huge challenge to try to create another universe from a source material already existed.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it was. It wasn't that difficult just because I made the choice not to make it difficult. I made the choice not to be beholden to or faithful to the original film so much. Not out of any disrespect to that film, but because I just knew I kind of had to plow my own furrow and do something that was that felt in my voice, and also something that felt contemporary and American. And it just so happened that maybe it ended up being, I think, even more in the writing of it, and even since the writing of it, even as we were shooting it, as now it's been edited and released, I think in those intervening 5 years, because I wrote it 5 years ago, it's become strangely maybe more resonant than when I wrote it. Maybe because whatever I sensed at the time as being a contemporary American problem, I now can see is slightly more of a global disassociation from reality, and a global kind of addiction to a kind of a divisive virtual conversation that we have with each other. And lots of people who think that they're saving the world, they're quite self-righteous about it, and anyone who doesn't feel the exact same way they do is trying to destroy the world. And so all those themes in the movie felt they feel quite top of mind at the moment in a way that I didn't intend, but it's interesting to watch.
One of the things that I love about the characters is that they both think they're in control. They
Yeah, that's
both
right.
have this illusion,
That's right. Uh-huh.
that they are in control.
Uh-huh.
But it's like life. Like we
That's right.
think we are controlling everything, but it's not
That's
illusion.
right. That's right. You really dig into this idea, this presentation of yourself. I know who I am. Here's my identity, and here's what's really going on in the world, and I'm going to explain it to you, you crazy idiot on the other side. And of course, as these two people talk to each other, they both have pretty good arguments, and also both pretty flawed arguments. And I guess the project of the movie is these two characters, little by little, in these scenes, sort of dismantling the images that they have of each other, and kind of finding the real emotional agendas that are hiding underneath there, that's what we're all really ultimately driven by. Right? There she is. That's great.
Well, thank you so much for this. And it's funny that you mentioned the everything happened in the pandemic, because I know people that they expected that the ending of this film, it's what will happen in that pandemic that we had.
Oh, that's right. Oh God.
I mean,
Well, look.
I
Yeah.
think your script was perfect for Yorgos too.
Oh yeah, me too. I was so happy to work with him. It was great. Thank you for this. It was a great chat, my friend.